We have had rain for 36 hours non-stop. Now, I know you had a lot of rain up in Johannesburg yesterday, but rain in Johannesburg and the rest of the country is nothing like it is in this area. Every single gravel road is almost a river, and we are here at the Youth and Heritage Centre. That's why I'm inside at the moment, bucketing down, and it's a quagmire. We've heard that some of the SABC vans, the DSNG vans that are coming down for the big funeral on Sunday, one of them's already stuck in the mud. So a logistical nightmare, but you know, the rain is said to be an extremely, very significant and very good spiritual sign. So I think the ancestors are smiling. 36 hours non-stop, and it's still coming down. And I spoke to the weather office in Port Elizabeth, and they said to me, look, it's set to continue until Friday, then it'll start letting up. Scattered showers on Saturday, and hopefully a beautiful day on Sunday where Nelson Mandela is finally laid to rest. But very, very wet here. And just some information you might find interesting, that in the Mthatha area, from Friday, it is likely that the entire CBD is going to be shut down and closed. This is just for safety and precautionary measures, so that everyone is kept safe. It's going to be a very busy time as family members start arriving. High-profile dignitaries start flying into Mthatha to make their way here to Qunu for the funeral. And we know that when Nelson Mandela makes his final trip from Mthatha to Qunu, his home here, that there are going to be 3,000 marshals that are going to be lining the road. It's a 31-kilometer stretch, 3,000 marshals on that stretch of road as the late former president makes his final trip to his home here in Qunu, where he's going to be buried. And on that particular day, and even now leading up to Sunday, there are going to be a number of Abatembe traditions that are going to be observed. We know that the funeral is going to be a state funeral, but it's going to be very fused with traditional values and customs, starting with the fact that normally a traditional funeral, Nelson Mandela would have the royal robe over his coffin, but in this case he's going to have the South African flag. That's just one of the things. But the furniture at his home will start being taken out of the main house, and the women who belong to the deceased, they will clean the house in preparation. If it was a hut, the women would wash the walls of the hut. And we know that at the main house, a traditional mat will be placed in front of a window, and the widow will sit on this mat there in front of the window. And now Nelson Mandela's body will be kept at the mortuary as the family here prepare for him to come home. And in keeping with Abatembe tradition, it's normal that when a member of the Abatembe clan is deceased, that their final resting place will be in the family home. And that is so evident here in the surrounding areas. You just have to drive around through these rolling hills, and you see these small homes that are fenced off, and within the home, just outside the back door, a little bit way down, facing the upcoming sun, there are gravestones and tombstones, obviously Abatembe clan and members that have been buried right in the family home, in keeping with that particular tradition. And another thing, is going to be a strict mourning period following the funeral on Sunday. Restrictions, there will be dress code, diet restrictions, various activities and chores that have to be carried out by members of the particular clan. And we know that on Sunday that an ox will be slaughtered. This is in keeping with tradition. Normally it depends how important the person was, whether it be a sheep or an ox, but obviously somebody of Nelson Mandela's stature, it's going to be an ox. The men will cook this ox in big pots, and they will cook it outside. They will boil the meat, and then they will eat it without any spices. And this ritual is performed so that the spirit of Nelson Mandela can be accompanied up to the ancestors. And that's just a few of the things that are going to be observed in the next coming days. A number of them, too many to mention at this stage, but a lot of preparation taking place here. And also, just with all this rain, spare thought for the guys who are outside preparing for this massive broadcast that the SABC is going to bring everyone. It's so difficult to get the stuff up. But as I stand here, there's a picture of Nelson Mandela, and there's a quote, and it says, "It always seems impossible until it's done." So that's probably just for the guys and everyone who's working on this event to make it successful and bring it to the world and to South Africa, so they can share in the final goodbyes to Nelson Mandela.
Janine, thank you so much. And we'll also spare a thought for the many journalists who are camped out there as well.